Hi there, Priscilla Dames here. Today I'm going to talk about internal conflict. But before I forget, I need to remind you I do like comments. What are some of the things you would like for me to talk about? I am not a pro when it comes to COVID-19. That's why I have my lives and my roundtable discussions with professionals. But I am a pro when it comes to conflict. And that's what this is all about. What type of conflicts do we have in our lives that this pandemic is causing? And that's why I've been doing this for almost a year, addressing the conflicts and just giving you tips, resolutions, and resources on several social media platforms. But I decided to move this over to YouTube. So that gives me a little more time to talk about each tip or each resolution or each conflict, especially with the new administration who's decided 100 days of mask wearing will help get us out of this pandemic. He didn't say it would be all over, but if all of us wore masks 100 days, we'd be in a much better place at the end of that 100 days. So I'm calling this 100 Days of Coping with COVID. So click the button down there, a little red button for you to subscribe to my channel and write some comments. What would you like for me to address at one of the roundtable discussions, one of the lives, or here with you? Internal conflict is what I want to address today because so many of us are feeling internal conflict. That's a conflict we're having with ourselves because there's so many decisions that we are having to make. And those decisions usually have to do with ethics or morals and values. Where do we get those from? Either from our parents, from our religion, our religious backgrounds, our faith, or our surroundings, the way we were raised in the society that we were raised in. And usually when we're having those internal conflicts, that dilemma that we're having is between head and heart. How do I feel about it, about me, about the people that will be affected with my decisions, or my intellect? If I go by the book, if I go by the rules, I'll do it this way. If I go about how I feel, I'll do it this way. So that is the conflict that I'm having. And it's heavy. We're having conflicts about ourselves. That could be a decision that I'm having to make, and it will only affect me. Do I go to the store with that last paycheck and make myself feel better and buy that whatever? Or with people on my job? I'm a teacher. I don't want to get COVID and put myself in that situation, because then if I come home, I may give it to one of my children, to my spouse, or to one of my elderly parents. But if I stop working, then my family may suffer the consequences because there won't be as much money. Or if I stop working, then it's unfair to my colleagues because they'll have to subdivide the classes and it won't be as many people teaching. Or is it something to do with the larger society or nature? So it's usually in those three areas. It's about me, it's about others, or it's about society. What do you do when you're having these conflicts, these internal conflicts? Well, the first thing that you have to do, and you're going to guess, I'm going to say take a step back and just breathe. Breathe in the good air. And out the toxins. Take some deep breaths and take some time. Take some time to just breathe. Open up your mind. Don't even think about it at first. Just relax. 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 And just breathe. And take some time for yourself before you make that important decision. And then what you may need to do is prioritize. Write a priority list. What is the most important thing for you right now? And the second and the third. And you may have to go all the way to 10. That's okay. But if you end with 5, that's okay. Make a priority list. What are your priorities right now? And then after you make that list, decide what is keeping you from deciding. Is there some shame or fear involved? What are you afraid of? If you make this decision, what will be that consequence? If you make this decision, what will be that consequence? So you're going to have to think about fear, what's holding you from making a decision, and think about the pros and cons on both sides. Write them down. There's something about writing. And then you can look at it. Next, think about the long-term effects. Whatever decisions that I make right now during this pandemic, what's it going to look like or be like 3 months from now, 6 months from now? Will that outcome affect my household a year from now? Am I willing to accept that consequence? Or no, I don't think that'd be worth it if we're still paying for that decision a year from now. So have a long-term, a future perspective, because we know there's life after COVID. And then after you've written all that down, step back again and think about it. Give yourself more time to think about it. And remember, whatever decisions that you make today, you're doing the best that you can. Don't be too hard on yourself. We're doing the best that we can in our own shoes, for ourselves, and for our household. Internal conflict. It could be very difficult, but think about it after you breathe. Bye-bye, Priscilla Dames.